Welcome back to Micro Maintenance, the home of wing nuts, and on this week we are back on trikes, specifically the Sub 70 PeaBee. This is an awesome machine made by Flylight. We've been dealers for them for the best part of this year, and our customers have asked us if we would film how to rig and derig the wing. So on this particular episode we're looking at the quick wing fold kit. We hope you enjoy it. Hi guys, and welcome back to Micro Maintenance, the home of wing nuts. And on this particular special we're going to be looking at taking a PeaBee Sub 70 from a flying state into a wing fold condition. This is something that needs a little bit of practice, and I strongly recommend on a non-flyable day you go and find yourself a nice open space in a hangar and practice. The more times you do it, the easier you will find it. Now, derigging a Sub 70 is actually one of the easiest things that you'll be able to do with the Sub 70. It is very self-explanatory. But there are a number of things that we need to prepare with just to make sure that the aircraft is ready to be derigged. The last thing we want to be doing is damaging our machine. So come with me, let me introduce you to the Sub 70. So hopefully you have already purchased a machine like this. If not, you are already thinking about it. The PeaBee 70 is a fantastic machine made by Flylight, and you get a number of parts that come with it, and I just want to go through some of those that you will need. The first thing that's worth doing is studying the pilot operating handbooks. You get one for the wing and you get one for the trike. Although this particular session isn't covered in the actual manual, there are certainly some good advice, some good tips that you want to have a read. Like I say, last thing we want to do is damaging our aircraft. Other things that you will need as part of this derig is your wing kit. So what we have here is our quick wing fold struts. We have a bag here filled with straps and some padding, and we also have our wing bag. Now, just in case you didn't believe me, this one is mine. Okay, so we're going to crack on to the first step, and that's preparing the trike ready for derigging. So the first thing we need to be mindful of is the wind direction. Obviously we're in a hangar, but should you be doing this outside, we want to make sure that the wind is flowing over the wing. You can see that we've got this tied down so that we're in a negative angle of attack, and that should stop the aircraft disappearing downwind as we're trying to derig it. It's also then important that we look at removing any of the items that we no longer need. So if you're flying with camera systems or anything like that, now's the time to remove those. Anything that's going to foul or restrict the wing movement needs to be completely removed. I normally fly with a camera or two, so I've already gone ahead and taken those off. Next thing I'm going to do is make the trike safe, making sure that the magneto switch is off. I normally remove the plug cap, and possibly we would look at wheel chocking the aircraft as well. Now, the wheel chocks don't come as part of the kit, so if you want to go ahead and purchase these, I think these are around about £5 or £10, but they're very, very useful. I normally chock at least one wheel, makes it safe that way. Next thing we're going to be looking at doing is making the wing easy to move. So there's things that we need to remove, like this top box. Next thing I want to go ahead and do is remove the nose cone. And everything you take away, you want to make sure it goes in a clear space so that you're not going to damage it later. The next thing we need to look at doing is adding the quick wing fold kit. So I'm going to grab my wing fold struts. I always try and keep these together. This is the batten bag that we reused earlier. And you see there are two ends. One has a quick clip on there, the other one is chamfered with a hole in it. We'll go ahead and pop those in place. And we are looking for these two brackets here. These aren't designed to be left on in flight, and so we're going to go ahead and fit those now. Whilst the wing's in this condition, there is no weight on the trike or on the base bar at all here, so it means that we can go ahead and remove this split pin. So you see here, there is a pin that we press in there. Do you want to come take a closer look? So that pin goes in there. This then should easily slide out. This then is designed to slide over, and the pin goes back in place. Now this pin won't go all the way through, and again that's to stop you from flying with this in situ. And I'm going to head and drop that pin onto there. Now we've got the quick wing fold in place. We're coming out to where the crossbar is, and in here you should find one of the loops. This is designed to support the leading edge when it's under load, so you don't want to fasten this side. You want to make sure that the strap comes this side and clips in. I'm going to do the same on the other side. The next thing that we're going to do is looking at lowering the wing down onto the trike, and there are a number of things that we need to be mindful of this, one of which is where the load is, and particularly making sure that we don't damage the aircraft unnecessarily. Fortunately, the design of the aircraft means it's relatively simple to follow, so let me just show you. The first thing we're going to do is remove this lower bolt here. There are 2 bolts, and we're going to remove this one. Now let me show you how to do these pins. Everyone seems to get confused with those. You see, it won't go this way. You don't need tools for this. If you rotate it, you can use the bolt to open up the pin. And it simply comes out. There we go. And again, removing the washer and gently sliding it out. You shouldn't need any tools on these, so don't add a pair of pliers. I always put these back together again. For the time it takes to do, it certainly saves a lot of frustration of losing parts. It is worth carrying some form of bag that you can store any form of bolts. I usually use this bag here, which normally holds the hang bracket, and that way I know where everything is. Once we remove the rear bolt, we can now go and look at removing the front strut, and this is the same again. Just rotate that pin around, don't need any tools. There is a top hat washer, and again that should just easily slide out. That then goes back on, and that goes in place. Be careful now, because the load is on these 2 pins, so the last thing we want to do is release this. Now moving to the inside, I've got a wing tie down strap here. I'm going to remove this strap, move that out the way for now, and there's a small piece of Velcro there, which is where your foot goes, and I'm just taking the load. What I'm going to do is squeeze these pins in and lower the base bar down onto these 2 bobbins. So I'm pulling up, squeezing the pin in, and lowering this down onto the 2 bobbins. Making sure that the wing is central. We're now in a much safer, much stabler state, so we can start de-rigging the aircraft. The next thing we need to do is look at detensioning the wing. There are varying ways of doing this. I personally find it a lot easier. Either put your foot under the wheel to stop it from moving, or the chocks that are in place, and we're pulling back on the base bar. And if you come take a closer look at here, we're doing this. This is the tensioning wires. As we pull back on the floating crossbar, it's going to release the tension so that this can come out by popping down that pin there. So here we go. Pulling back on the tension. And sliding that out there. Now, don't let this go. Just gently ease it back into place. The weight is now on the quick wing fold bars. We now need to look at removing some battens. It's important that you generate a safe area so that you can do this. The last thing you want to do is tread on any battens and bend them. Like I say, we really want to make sure that this aircraft goes back in the same state that we de-rigged it from. The first batten that I always remove is the nose batten. So this is a simple, using the loop, gentle pulling back and moving to one side. Let's see that again. So I'm pulling back and then I'm moving to one side. We can then use the same loop just to pull this down to about there. We're just generating an area for the wing to go later. Now what we're going to do is get our batten bag and we're going to slowly take out the wing battens. So the wingtip former is this bar that is here, and you can see it's secured on the leading edge and by a batten that's there. What we need to do is get our hands in and just push that away from us. That should generate a space for this entire thing to come out. Once it's out, put it back in a straight line, and then we're going to put this in a safe area. Next thing I'm going to do is remove and secure the washout rod. This doesn't come out. There's a section of Velcro that's here that lines up with a section of Velcro that's there. We're lifting up to take the tension and gently twisting as that comes out. If you see, there is a length of bungee cord just on the inside there. This Velcro then sticks on place. I'm going to do the same on the other side. The next thing we're looking at doing is removing these little carbon fibre formers. And you can see these little things there, very easy to forget. There is a little elastic pocket in there. We're pushing against that so that the thing that removes looks like a bit like a nail file. And you'll see what I'm doing is trying to do a rhythmic, repetitive pattern so that I'm doing things in the same order, normally in the reverse of how you would rig the wing. But if you carry on doing things in the same way, you'll get used to the pattern, get used to the checks, get used to not forgetting important bits like these. The next thing we're going to do is look at removing the battens. So if you take a look at these particularly, might be different to the normal battens that you are used to. Now, it's very easy to break these when they're stored incorrectly. To remove them, we simply press the crocodile clip side there, and you can see that's now come up. First thing you then want to do is clip those back in place. Very easy to lose these. Now, we don't pull these out really hard, otherwise you'll get friction, you might burn your wings. So we're just doing gentle, small pulls, a couple of inches at a time until it comes out. And then we're going to work away along removing all of the battens. Okay, so you see I've left these inner root battens, so battens 1 and 2. We leave these in place on the quick fold pretty much all the time. So I'm just unclipping those, and now I'm bringing these back around about a foot, 300 mil, back to there. The next thing we need to look at doing is removing the king post. So whilst we're in this state, we're also going to get some of the padding in place before we run the risk of damaging our wing. So in your padding bag, you will have 4 straps. We will need those later. We're looking for this one that looks like this with a little bit of elastic on it. We're looking for this one here with that looks like a minion, we'll say. We're looking for this one. We're also looking for one of those. Okay, so this is the one that you want first, and this is going over the center catch there, making sure it's nice and tight, and that should stop us from damaging the wing with that. The next thing we're looking for is this one. Now get yourself in a nice position. What we're going to do is gently push up this king post, and we're bringing it down now forwards of the A-frame. You want to be bringing this through the hole so that it's below the keel tube. If you don't and leave it up there, when the leading edges come in, it'll trap it in against there. You'll run the risk of damaging your king post. We're looking for this, and that slides over the top there. Make sure that you're not trapping any of the cables in the padding. And this just slides forward, so it's covering the king post spigot there, and this should wrap around and protect the A-frame portion. We're now looking for this particular pocket. I use this just to go over the top or bottom of the king post. This should hopefully stop it from scratching on your screen or anything like that. So just a little bit of protection there. And now we're ready for the fun part. The first thing we want to be looking at doing is just making sure that there is no obstructions, making sure that the aircraft is going to be able to fold in correctly, because the next thing we're going to do is bring the wings in. So I'm just making sure that I have the right protective pieces in there, making sure that my battens have generated a space, the nose batten is down, and that I haven't trapped any cables ready for moving. So this is quite a fun part, so you ready for this? So make sure the prop is in the upright position, and I'm reaching out now for as wide as I could reach, and I'm bringing these two wings in together. I'm now holding with one hand. Are you ready to disappear? I'm now reaching out as far as I can and bringing this wing in. So the next thing I'm doing is just tidying up the wing skin, making sure there's no big creases in the wing, because this is one way of storing your aircraft. This is the official 5-minute rig. From here we can throw the wings out, we can put the battens in, go through our rigging checks, and we can go away. And this is a perfectly acceptable way of storing the aircraft. I can still move it around, but we're going to look at taking it the next step with the wing bag on. So the first thing we need to do is just tidy up that sail and get it nice and compact up in the wing so that we can get the wing bag on. Slowly working at tucking this sail up into the leading edges. Using one of the tip socks, we can help hold that skin in place. Don't worry about it being too neat. Now we want one of our straps. And again, when you're putting these on, don't pull them too hard. Last thing we want to do is cause a friction burn. But we do want it relatively tight. We're going to be putting the wing bag on here soon. Next thing we want to do is locate our battens. The battens go up in the spot we've created here. We might look at taking our nose cone. We could drop that on top there as well. Our third strap, we want to be looking to go around the mid area. And now we're doing a quick visual on the wing, just make sure everything's tucked in nicely. Next we're looking for our wing bag. Now for me, when I get to the tail, take it down to the coloured portion. And that should just slot over. Working your zip, making sure you got it in the correct way. You should be able to throw this over the top. Zip down as much as you can. Now working from the back. You won't get this all the way, obviously, but enough to keep it secure. Your final strap. Zip up your frame bag. Anything you don't need can go now into your frame bag. Remove your wheel chocks. The aircraft is now fully de-rigged in its wing fold kit. Means we can now move it around by the nose and go park it up in the hangar. And that was it on our sub 70 PeaBee special. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Obviously on this particular series there'll be more to follow with rigging and de-rigging the Trike in varying forms. But until next week guys, thank you ever so much for watching. We do read all of your comments, so please don't hesitate to leave us a note below. Don't forget to press that subscribe button should you wish to see more of our content. But until next week guys, see you soon.